Day Trader. This is your market wrap for January 28th, 2019. Q's down 1.34% and SPY down 0.83%. We got about 30 minutes, until the close here. So we'll see if they can't erase more of those losses, but very, very sideways here on the Q's and SPY. That's what we had today. Pretty sideways here. Tried to go in the morning and then really couldn't explore to new lows very far as we were at support. Okay, so you can see just going to close out here basically where it opened. Here's the daily. We were gapping into this support here, and then on the Qs as well, gapping to support. Okay, just keep in mind coming into today, the bias was neutral, and we wanted it to break over 166.02 on the Qs. Same kind of pivot here on the SPY over 267, and we could be bullish if we did that, but we're gapping down into support today. NVDA and CAT were kind of the culprits in causing the gap down there, so those both gapped down. Okay, so going into the rest of the week here, we'll be looking to see if we can't get under 260.66 on the SPY, and then underneath this bottoming tail here, 160.30 on the Qs, and see if we can't get some more follow through. We'll be into more support, but that's going to be the first area that I can have a bearish bias. Okay, so remain neutral until we break that. I'm not going to be too concerned about the market. I think it's going to be up to kind of the individual names. We got a lot of large cap names reporting this week, so I'm not going to have a strong conviction one way or the other once we do get some kind of bias here. But notice we haven't moved for a couple weeks now. Okay, so I don't think it's really been rewarding to have a strong bias on the market one way or the other either. So we'll just keep it that way. Okay, market's still, I think, kind of waiting to get some more clarity here before it picks a direction. We're still in this weekly sell setup that's forming. So while the daily and the hourly have recovered a bit, this is starting to look like we may get a sell setup. So this has been the big thing. We've been watching it week after week after week. So we'll just continue to see if this actually triggers that weekly sell setup. Okay, that's the main thing I think that's keeping me from anytime that the market has looked to do a breakout or move higher or break out of this base on the daily, that has really kept a lid on a bullish bias for me. Okay. All right. So we'll just be neutral tomorrow. Going into tomorrow, focus is still the individual names, not so much the market. Okay. All right. So let's go over what we had today. Like I said, the NVIDIA and the CAT gap down, both were pretty tough. I don't think they were able to establish nice trends today. I think there was some money to be made shorting either of them. Because of the market gap down, I wanted to go to the COMM because it was showing a lot of strength right off the open here. Okay, COMM, and didn't pick up on it until it already made a nice run here. Did a pullback there, and then we gave it a shot after this double bottom here. Okay, so we got this double bottom here. So over this topping tail, over 2025 by 2014. This was called for the room. Our stop was 2014. So we triggered in right there. Was looking for new highs and beyond, but this stopped out. Stopped out right there, going into lunch. But you can see what I did since. I think there was only one possible re-entry that I thought was okay. I gave it to the room as just an idea. I didn't like it as much, actually, as the initial entry there. And that ended up working out pretty well there. Right here, over this topping tail here. Or a bit of like a narrow body bar there. So just got the timing wrong on the COMM. I think it was the right idea there. I've gotten a question before because sometimes my plays don't trigger. I mean, it's normal that you have an entry, it doesn't trigger, and then goes and takes out the stop. And I've gotten the question often, well, if it takes out the stop, does that mean it's a short? And for me, it doesn't. You may have a different trading style, or you focus on kind of different setups, different symbols. But for me, the bias comes from the larger picture. So I'm going to look at the daily, the weekly. And for me, this was a bullish daily. So I didn't really have interest in short. Maybe could scalp it or something like that. But for me, breaking above this base, you have a shakeout there. And then you have all this void above, which is not in play yet, right? But that's definitely part of the picture here. So on this COMM, you know, something like this, you try to short this. I mean, this pivot here was like 09, and this only went to 08. Even if you tried shorting it when we gave up on it under 14, I just don't think there's much to go. Now, there will be some, of course, plays that I call, and whether they stop or don't trigger and then take out the stop, you know, that will work. But it just doesn't fit with my methodology. Okay, so my approach, the consistency that I'm trying to reach with my trading right, it just wouldn't make sense to short because it broke there. It's actually maintained its bullishness and was able to recover, and you can see make new highs there. So that's definitely frustrating. I definitely am gonna finish out today. Feel like it was a bit frustrating that I felt like we had the right idea here and just got out of it just by a little bit for it to go forward. Now I guess the silver lining is right bias, finding the right opportunities here. But yeah, I mean, if it had not, if it hadn't shaken us out somehow, this pivot didn't dig as deep, or maybe it just went right off the bat there, we would be looking at a pretty nice play there. So about 40 cents on a 11-cent stop. So yeah, a 3 to 4 hour play is a big play. That there's a big difference between taking a stop. So this was a full stop on the COMM. That was the only thing I called today. So I'm just going to show you a couple other things that I think were pretty interesting. Maybe not perfect, but were kind of a nice picture of power here. On the gas, if you found a way in right at the open, was a nice short as well. And then you had a nice little breakdown here. So this is the bleed pattern. You get a sell setup, bases sideways, and then breaks down right from there. That took you to new lows on the guess. Here's the gap. So good shock value on the gap here. So unlike the COMM, which was more about the relative strength here, this was a nice gap. Market was gapping down, but wasn't clearing the base. And this was clearing the base coming from a wide range green bar. So yeah, I let this one go. I felt like it was getting pretty close to support. That support kind of got tagged there, went right to it. So there was a little bit more still in this. That was just a bit extended at the time on the 5 there on that breakdown. But that's a nice little play there on the guess. Okay, and then one that probably is going to get a lot of people's attention is this TRVN because it's up almost doubled, right, since the close on Friday. So there was a nice breakout here in the morning. Sammy was on the mic, was just trying to give it to the room, broke out. I think some people were able to catch it, and then some of us were not able to catch it in time because it actually looked like it was going to break down at first, right in here. It looked like it was going to come in and then kind of bounced, like popped right back up and took off. As far as other entries in it, I didn't really see any that were all that convincing, especially when something's already up that much. Yeah, it's hard to go after it, but you can see it's probably going to close out somewhere near the highs here. So TRVN worked out pretty well there. So, I mean, it was a very small earnings list. I think there's less than a dozen maybe tradable names that I saw. So really just kind of your Monday, typical Monday kind of thing. Am pretty annoyed about the COMM. Like I said, there was a chance to replay. Thought the entry wasn't that great, but that was the chance to replay. And then the replay would have more than made up for our initial loss on this. So, yeah, just going to bug me a bit. I'm sure I'll get over it, but this is just trading for you. It's just how it goes sometimes. I guess in this case, some people may make the case for, using a psychological stop instead of a hard stop, but I use hard stops. So I just, if I'm on the mic or doing scanning, I don't want to ever kind of lose track of something and then let something become a much bigger loss than I was willing to tolerate. So, that's going to do it though. We'll have quite a few more names reporting this week. And then with a neutral bias, that's kind of perfect for earnings season. I'd like to see the market stay as quiet narrow range days as possible. That'll make it easier to pick up on the things that are really moving that investors and traders are going after. Okay. So I hope you had a good day today. Like I said, I think there were some opportunities. I just didn't get the timing right on the COMM, but the idea was right. And then there were some other okay opportunities here and there. So definitely there was the potential to make a decent day out of it. If not, if you stayed out of trouble, not too bad either. Okay. All right. So we'll see what the market brings us tomorrow. But that'll do it for today's market wrap. And hope you have a good evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.